everybody, and welcome to our Heart to Heart podcast. I'm Cristy Diaz, and joining me today is Elizabeth Lopez, but we're going to call her Lisi because we're one of her friends now, just like the rest of her friends call her. And we're going to hear her journey about how she found herself between the pages. Not only is she a badass mom, but she's also an author. And it took her becoming a mom and going through COVID and having time throughout the pandemic to discover her creativity. And we're so excited here today to discuss her journey as an author. Lisi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here.
So our 2 degrees of separation, which, I mean, our circle is even smaller than that, but we have your sister in common.
Yes.
And we reconnected because you were promoting your book in a book club that my mother-in-law was in.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
That was actually my first book club I was invited to. It's funny. It's, again, the Miami community, a bunch of moms of kids that I went to elementary school with. One of them saw that I had written the book, and she goes, "I have a book club. We would love to have you." And honestly, I was nervous because I normally don't like crowds or talking in front of people, but it was wonderful to reconnect with them. And then I had reconnected. I knew your mother-in-law, but I officially met her, and then we put 2 and 2 together, and she was like, "Oh, my daughter-in-law has this. Would you love to come on?" And I was like, "Yeah, like, what are the chances? What are the odds?" I was like, "Of course, yes, absolutely." I followed you. I was like,
It's so funny.
it's so
And
funny.
I love your sister and your niece, who I know because I know her through my daughter, Adriana. That's what I love about Miami.
Yeah.
We're a really big little town.
Yes.
Right? So let's formally introduce yourself for those of you who, for those that don't know you.
So I'm Lisi. I'm a wife to my college sweetheart, a mom of 3 little ones, ages 10, 8, and 5. I'm actually an industrial engineer by day, moonlighting by author now, trying to make it the daytime also. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's you in a nutshell. So number 1 on your occupational list is mom.
Yeah.
And you've got 3. I don't know how on earth you found the time to write a book.
4 sometimes if my husband, depends on the day, you know.
Oh, listen. And 5 if you have the dogs.
But yeah, I'm allergic, so at least that one I got saved.
That's so funny. So you went to University of Miami, go Canes. It's funny. It's like I did not plan this, but this season, our season 2 in the studio, we've all been UM graduates, which I find so awesome. And what a little coincidence, as I call them, because I don't believe in coincidences. They're coincidences.
I like that word.
Right? So you went and you became an engineer, but you ended up coming out an author because you were very much moved by a particular class. Can you share what that was?
Yes. So I have always liked writing, but I'm also, my logical side knows that it won't pay the bills or it'll be difficult to challenge.
Sure.
And I also liked math. So I ended up doing engineering, which is where I met my husband. And in engineering, they make you take these arts classes. And one of them that I took, because I've always liked, the 40s, 50s, those old black and white movies. It was an introduction to jazz class. I took 2 of them. And I fell in love with the whole, you think jazz, you think Kenny G.
Right.
And it's just so much deeper than that. It goes back way, 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 way back. And the history of it was fascinating. I love that sound, the crooners, the big bands,
Yeah.
all of that. And yeah, I at that same time I had seen a movie, Letters to Juliet, which is like an underrated movie with Sophia. I just blanked on her name.
Letters to Juliet.
Letters to Juliet.
What else has the actress done?
Mamma Mia.
Oh, Amanda Seyfried.
Amanda Seyfried. Sorry, Sophia's her name. I had a mom brain fart moment. Yes.
Yes, I love her.
And in the beginning, she's a fact checker, and she was fact checking this famous life photo of the sailor kissing the nurse in Times Square on VJ Day, Victory over Japan Day in 1945. And she was fact checking someone in the background, but it got me thinking, this iconic photo. I never really thought about looking into the background or the story of the sailor and the nurse, who wasn't even a nurse. She was a dental hygienist.
Right.
And so I started digging. It was not a romantic story at all. It was 2 random strangers kissing in Times Square. It was an act that was happening all over. And just this one photographer happened to capture this them in the right position, the right background, and it went from there. But because I've always liked writing and because I do have this creative side somewhere in me, I started coming up with I was like, let me write this story. I was inspired by my jazz class and the times, and
Right.
I had a lot of songs in the book, songs that I liked during the
Got that.
that class that I went through. And this was in 2010. I started writing, I think I wrote like 20,000 words. And then just engineering took over my time, and because as the years went on, it got more challenging, and I left it. And then after college, I got married to my husband, and we kind of just started having kids. He was in medical school when we had our daughter, our oldest, who's 10, and then he went to residency for cardiology, and so I kind of just put it on the shelf, pun intended, right? The
Right.
bookshelf. And I completely forgot about it. Still always liked writing, just never had the time to do it. And then in 2017, so 7 years later, we welcomed our son, our middle son, with Down syndrome. And obviously that took up a lot of my time, but I actually found a voice in that. I felt like it was like a cathartic feeling that I had to write, to advocate for him, to advocate for families who get a special needs diagnosis. And through that, I was able to find or rekindle that love, that passion that I have for writing and creating a story, because what I was writing was my story in order to help others who were in
Sure.
my position. And then COVID came, and along with COVID, we welcomed our third child, another boy. And I had time because even though I had three kids, there were no after school activities. My daughter was on Zoom doing her classes. Both of my boys napped their
Wow.
little days.
Yeah.
And I ended up cleaning out my hard drive, and I found that story that I had written in 2010. And I read it and I go, the writing was awful. But the idea, I was like, wow, this was a good idea. Why did I leave this? And I just picked it up again. I changed the story a little bit, and my fingers had a mind of their own. It was like
Yeah.
we hadn't separated from each other. We kept going together, and I finished that story. And after that story, it actually gave me an idea for a second book. And I was like, you know what? Let me just see where that second book takes me. And that's it. I won't write anymore after that because it does take up a bit of my time, and I can't be doing this, right? It's my husband was in residency, and like
Right.
I was working as an industrial engineer, but that second story also just took off, and then another story came to mind. And this past year we were in a position in our lives that we were financially stable, and my husband's like, you know what? Why not go for it? I ended up having back surgery for a herniated disc in December, which was kind of another like life's too short moment. You don't never know what's gonna happen. Why not? Um, and so I didn't let that fear of what my writing was, how it was gonna be taken by others. Um, I didn't let that stop me, and I
That
decided
is
to go for
so
it.
amazing.
Hi, this is Brianna, designer behind Brianna Handmade Jewelry. I'm so grateful to share my story with the Heartful Living community. As a thank you, I'd love to gift you an exclusive code. Use HEART15 at checkout for something special from my collection. From my heart to yours. Enjoy!
And these are the two books. So this is book number one, which it's the quickest book I've ever read in my life. I could not put it down. I read it in 3 days.
Surprised, and you're like, I finished. I was like, what?
I was texting her, so I have some questions because I don't know who else to talk to but my mother-in-law. And why did XYZ? And she goes, but you're done? I go, yeah, I have 100 pages left. So it's called Painting the Maple Tree. And it's about Edward and Evelyn. And they're here. And I'm not giving away the story, but what's
And Richard. So yeah,
Richard?
so it's like a dual. Not it's not a dual timeline. It's like a love triangle, I guess,
Yeah.
is what it is.
Richard, I always felt when I was reading it, he was kind of like on the back burner. I was like, come on, Richard, get out of the way.
Which was I wanted to make sure like I gave him, but yeah, you know,
Yeah. So,
you when you're writing, you kind of have your favorites, and then you try not to, but
right. Right. So I have tons of questions, but my first one is, why don't you give everybody like a quick synopsis?
Okay. So it starts off with in VJ Day, Victory over Japan Day in August 1945 in Times Square. And the main female character, Evelyn, is a nurse, and she's out there in Times Square, just basking in the celebration because she was a nurse that had gone overseas and had that traumatic post-war, stress. And she all of a sudden just gets embraced by a stranger. And if you look at pictures of that day, there it was packed. It was like a concert there. Like,
It's like New Year's Eve in Times Square
yeah, yeah,
in black and white.
right. Exactly. And everyone dressed better.
So cute. Yes.
So she gets embraced by this man, and she doesn't really like catch a glimpse of him. The sun's in her eyes. He kisses her, and she kind of has like this flashback to the time when she was overseas and a soldier she had met that she had formed not a physical relationship, but an emotional relationship with. And but then she's catching her balance and getting up, and he disappears. And then she's looking around for him. She can't find him. She's looking where he grabbed her, and the only thing she sees on the floor is like a discarded ashtray that she says she felt something fall on,
Right.
whatever. So it kind of takes her on this journey. It's an ashtray from this famous club in New York City, and she goes there with her friend, and she meets Richard, who's a soldier, also had fought in the European theater. And he reminds her of this soldier that she had helped nurse, is how she met the
There's
soldier during the
definitely
war.
similarities.
Right, the blue eyes, so, and it's funny because it was one of the challenging things that I wanted to make it believable in the way that, like, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is believable, right?
Right.
Like, what are the chances someone trying to lose a day in 10 days is
Correct.
meets someone who's trying to keep
Correct.
someone.
Correct. You were saying about Edward and Evelyn here, and Richard being poor Richard's the triangle. He's truly in love with Evelyn,
Right,
but she just can't get her soldier out of her mind.
right, and so the whole time, I think, after I made sure that I could make it believable that she didn't really know what he might look like, not bruised, not cut up, not with bandages everywhere.
Swollen.
I also think part of it with Evelyn was, you know, and I think everyone can relate. Sometimes you think something and you want to ask someone a question, but you're scared that you're going to be wrong. And I think she kind of is scared that she's going to be wrong, that he's not the soldier that she was hoping was still alive, and that she happened to meet him again.
Yes.
And so she was scared to kind of
Yes.
ask him or, dig deeper. And that reservation kind of takes her on this path
Right.
where she does date Richard, and then she meets Ed, and, the whole love triangle starts there. And it's her trying to either decide, do I let go of my past love, or do I embrace new love, embrace the future?
Right. Because you as you read, you realize they both had lives before, and it's almost like they have brand new lives after.
Right.
And how did they merge all of these life paths
Right.
is how I interpreted it. And one thing that when you had mentioned to me what influenced your writing, which was your jazz classes, I definitely got that through reading it. And it's funny because my mother-in-law, either you didn't mention it during your book club or she kind of just missed that marker. Because I go, isn't it great how Lisi managed to thread her influence of her jazz class? She goes, what do you mean? I go, yeah,
I don't
that's
remember. I don't
she
remember if I had brought it up or not.
yeah. And she goes, I did not know that. Or if I did, I missed it during book club and I could see it. It was very evident when we were reading this
Yeah.
book.
And I kind of hope when people read it, I know people read it, they don't like to stop, but I kind of would like people to go and see which song that is and what it sounds like, because I think it'll actually help them get into the scene even more.
Yeah. Or if it's instrumental music with no noise, I almost encourage somebody to listen to it in the background
Yep.
while
Which
they're reading.
I do that sometimes as I'm
Did you?
writing. Yeah.
I got the feel for it. It's historical fiction.
Mhm.
Fascinating that the picture of the soldier and the nurse, which
Wasn't-
now we find out is not a nurse. Fascinating point that you brought up.
Yeah.
That it's just it's a viral moment in time,
Right.
and it's
And
not
no one knew this. And the story is it's two random strangers. The guy even had his girlfriend, who ended up being his wife later. So I guess she forgave him.
right, right,
There behind him. And this, it's just one of those. But it was such an iconic photo because it did capture, which is one of the things that at one point the picture was canceled because it was like, well, he didn't ask for permission.
consent.
Right, consent. And then it kind of wasn't, it was back to being an inspirational photo because it was just capturing this like happiness, right? And
Right.
back then that kind of was the way that things, and I'm not saying it's okay to kiss someone without
Sure.
consent. Even later, the dental hygienist in an interview, because they figured out who she was, said, "Oh no, I didn't care. I
Right.
understood. Like I understood that for me it was just
Correct.
he was expressing the way that he felt because he thought I was a nurse and
Right.
he had fought in the war where nurses were such
Right.
a major piece of winning."
Right. Imagine what a turn of events it would have been had the photo been canceled. It never reached your hands. It never would have prompted you and thrown you
Into
into this. It
Yeah.
wouldn't have inspired you. I guess that could be a case as to why we can't erase the past
Mhm.
because you never know how it's going to touch a person, whether
Right.
good or bad.
Right.
But that picture then not only produced painting the maple tree, but you just book number 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And that one was really fun because that one's a fictional take on the disappearance of Glenn Miller,
Okay.
who was a very famous big band leader in the 40s.
Okay.
And he actually went overseas, and they created the army big band to boost the morale of soldiers.
And you did touch a little bit on that.
Yes,
And
and that scene in the painting the maple tree is
correct.
just that tiny scene that I had actually written in 2010. I kept that scene in there, brought me over to that book.
Wow. So you just released book number 2.
Yes, I did. It's released.
Congratulations.
It's crazy. I don't know if this is my midlife crisis or if I'm finally understanding that it's okay to have your passions and pursue them. Hi, I'm Lisi Lopez, author of Painting the Maple Tree. My story is about finding beauty and hope even in life's hardest seasons, a journey of healing, love, and second chances. I had the honor of sharing my heart on the Heart to Heart podcast with Cristy Diaz. You can learn more about my book and our conversation by visiting heartfulliving.com under Hearts That Align. Heartful Living, where stories connect us.
You know, Lisi, I am a mom just like you. And when I was little and they would say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I would say a mom, right? But that's not your sole hat.
Right.
And you have other passions and other creative outlets. And the fact that you have gone with it and just let it take you, I admire that so much. And you're still a stellar mom and wife because of it. And you're still an engineer.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you've gone for it. And it's admirable. It truly is.
Thank you.
You weren't.
No, and honestly, it's been everyone in the community, the Miami circle we like to call it, is the one that kind of has pushed me to keep going
Right.
because I had the guilt and I had the fear holding me back. Am I gonna take away from being a mom and a wife by putting time into this? Or is my writing gonna be, enough for people to think that, oh, she actually can write? And it's actually something that my kids taught me to just let go of that fear sometimes. It's as adults, we really let fear determine the path that we choose and I think that's what's great about kids. They kind of don't have that fear yet.
Yes, absolutely.
So I use them as my inspiration and they're the ones I
Cool.
dedicated the first book to for that reason because I think that I could take a page from their book. Don't let fear stop you from pursuing. And it's not that you're giving up anything, right? It's not that I'm giving up being a mom or a wife. It's just I'm finding the time to also do a little bit of what makes me, right? What my
Absolutely.
passions.
My grandma, who passed away 5 years ago, one of the many big lessons she left me with, and it's something that I think of almost daily, is in Spanish, la vida da muchas vueltas, that life isn't linear. And it sure as hell is not, for many reasons, right? For the good, for the bad, for the, the top and the bottom.
Right.
And this is just another path that being a mom, which is your priority,
Right.
sets you on.
Right.
And how beautiful is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you also wrote a memoir.
I just,
You also wrote a memoir about your middle son.
yes.
And that one's tucked away.
I think so. Right now, I'm writing. I have one more book that I had written because I had written all these by 2023. I have one more about my grandparents' life coming to Miami that I want to put out there, and I'm writing a spin-off of the Painting the Maple Tree.
Ooh.
Once I'm finished with those two, I think I will go back to that memoir because, again, it's what made me find my passion for writing again, advocating for my son. And it's important, I think, for other families to realize that they're not alone when you get a special needs diagnosis. It's just a very emotional project because that one it is home. It's not that it hits close to home, it is home. But I think it's important. And I think these books have given me the confidence to go back and look at that one with a new perspective to
Absolutely.
share it with everyone.
And I do commend you for breaking those taboos. I do. There's not enough out there.
Yeah. No, God said, "Oh, you thought this was gonna happen to you? Nope.
Right.
Here you go."
Right.
And we've been really blessed. And he's just
Leo, he's awesome.
he's a firecracker, but
Yeah, he is. So another question for you is about your third book and your grandparents' story. And you mentioned to me that he was actually also an engineer.
Yep.
So the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
my whole family's engineers.
That's crazy. Yet, he did write everything down.
He did. He at one point, someone in my family asked him, "Can you please write it down?" Because as many Cubans in Miami know, they're all each story that we have of how our family came here. It's so unique and so powerful. Imagine leaving. I can't imagine leaving Miami
Right.
with one item, some clothing, and leaving my family behind, not knowing if I'm ever going to see them again. And it's something that he always instilled in all of his grandkids and his kids is the fact that we cannot take for granted this freedom and this liberty, which is another reason why I've been writing and publishing because I have the freedom to do that and I'm not going to take that for granted. And so this third story, it's fiction because he did write a lot about how they left, but he was a brilliant man. And the way he wrote was more technical, factual, right? So I just grabbed a lot of them, plus their story of how they came over in the 60s and created this new story that I just really wanted to hit home what my grandparents and my parents have always taught us. That you always have to fight for what you believe in. You always have to fight for your freedom of speech and religion and the right to have an education, which is why most of our family either pursued engineering or, we all took that to heart and we all went to college because we could, right? And so that story, I think, shows, it has that theme in it. And that's the one I'm probably the most excited to publish.
Of course.
But yeah, it's in the 90s. It's based in the 90s and it's this daughter. Her father has just passed away, which was the other thing. I wrote it a year after my grandfather passed away. And he's the reason why my entire family him and my grandmother is the reason why my family is so united, right? My grandparents, they have always instilled that on us and made sure we're always in each other's life for better or for worse.
That's
Sometimes too much, but I'll
right.
take it. And
It's our culture, right? It's our culture.
privacy what? It's like, no. And so, yeah, I think it's an important one to put out there. And I hope wherever he is, it would make him
I have no
proud
doubt. I have no doubt.
see. And I do put some of his quotes that he had written in there. And so kind of my way of keeping him alive and his spirit and what he lived for alive, which was his family. He lived for his family.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so beautiful. I can't wait for you to publish that one too. Speaking of publishing, you write these books. You have it. And you're like, okay, now what? How do I get this out to the world? What was your path? And how did you figure things out? Not knowing anything about the literary world.
I went in blind.
Yeah.
But no, I learned a lot. I joined some Facebook groups, I did some courses, free courses on YouTube. And then, like I said, I had written most of these by 2023. I had these 3 books. And so I tried to go through the traditional publishing route, which is what I had originally heard of. And I queried a bunch of agents or publishing houses that took submissions without an agent. And it was always the same thing. I got a reply back: "We love your idea, we love your story, but you don't have a platform." Right, because I'm not a writer. I don't have a platform
Sure.
for that. So I just held on to them and hoping maybe one publisher, one agent would be like, sure, let's give it a try. But then I heard about, because the problem is also is the book market is so saturated now with all these self-published books that you can publish
Right.
your own book, right? And I understand. So they require you to do a lot of the marketing. So if you don't have a big platform, they know you're not going to reach a big audience, right? They don't know I have a big Miami circle that,
They don't know what town we live in.
but whatever. So I just held on to them. I was like, motherhood and just working
Sure.
still. I was like, oh, maybe it's not the time. And then in December or November, I had my back surgery. And I was like, why am I scared to put this out on my own? I know I can do it. I know what I need help in. I needed to find a cover artist and I needed a good editor. So I focused on getting those 2 things. And that gave me the final push, the final confidence to go ahead and release the first book. And then the community, that was it. It was like so many words of encouragement. Honestly, I've been blown away by how much support I mean, I don't know if everyone really loves me and they're saying it's a great story, good writing, or if they actually mean it. But it's been really, really, really beautiful. I've been so blessed. And for better, for worse, I'm pa'lante.
That's amazing. Pa'lante. I love that. That's very much our culture right there. I'm super excited to read book number 2
Again in like 3 days.
in 3 days. Well, this one I'm actually gonna savor.
It,
I was
it's a little the second
meatier.
book is more serious. It's
Okay.
not as like
Light.
romance. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was in such a hurry to read it to make it for today to be able to discuss things. So it's called the speed reading for
I
a
mean,
reason,
still,
right?
I don't
And
think I could do that.
I almost died laughing. My son watching me, he goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I have a book report." And he goes, "You have a book report?" I go, "Yeah, for the
Gotta
podcast."
get the spark notes on it.
And he goes, "Mom, just go to ChatGPT." I go, "Baba, it's not on ChatGPT."
It might be now. I don't know. ChatGPT is scary because you go on Amazon and you look for it and it gives you like a synopsis of it. Like Amazon's own AI, I think, gives you, I think.
A Spark Notes to it.
Mhm.
This is not one you want to Spark Notes, folks. This is one you want to sit and enjoy with some nice swing music in the background.
A little vinito, maybe.
A little, yeah. Well,
Tea.
you mentioned a Manhattan.
Oh, yes.
You mentioned a Manhattan, the book, which my suegra drinks.
Oh, really? Well, it's funny because so after your mother-in-law's at the book club, I had another one, and these book clubs, they go all out. They make me want
Yeah.
to join a book club because it's so much fun. Like that's the way to live life is to join a book club.
Oh yeah,
And
they know what's up.
yeah, they made Manhattans. And it was the first time I like actually had a Manhattan
That
because most of it
like
was
it.
research. I did. Yeah, lately I've been drinking more like bourbon and whiskey, so I did. I liked it.
Oh, so the influences are sleeping too. Lacey, what did you feel in the moment where you had this hard copy in your book? I mean, what must that have felt like?
We actually had just come back from Disney World when the proof came in. And I think it was 9 o'clock at night. And my kids were so excited because I was so excited. And I like pulled them out and they like took a picture with me and them. And we all look, after Disney, pretty, yeah. But it was surreal.
What a full circle moment. I don't know if you just sit with that image right now. You're a mom. You put everything on the back burner. You revisit it. And the proof comes in fresh off a trip from Disney World with ears and all. Wow, what a circle.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And honestly, my daughter mostly because she's the oldest, but I love that she can see this because I want her to know that I tell her, you have to go to school, you have to study, you have to get an education, because again, this is what is important, because because we have the privilege of being do that. Um, but I also like for her to know that when the time is right, you can also pursue your creative side. 'Cause she's also very creative. I told her, I'm like, your father, he was in medical school, then he was in residency. I was the one that was bringing in most of the. We had 3 kids almost. Like we needed to feed them, and
Yes.
I'll never regret it, because that was being a mother is a blessing, and being a wife to my husband is a blessing as well. But the time was right last year. It's like what the word you use,
Coincidence.
Godsidence, and everything kind of just. And I was like, okay, if you think this is the right time now, let's see.
Absolutely. And you went for it.
And I went for it.
Do you think 20 years ago you would have gone for it without the kids?
No, no,
Really?
because
They gave you the strength to move forward.
I think it was mostly because back then I still thought I had to, get an education, get a job, get married, have kids. Like that was what life was about. And I
Right.
didn't think about pursuing something like that, because engineering itself was just time consuming. And then one thing led to another, and I didn't really have time to even think about it. Because I think self-publishing was around in 2010. But even if it was as prominent as it is now, I don't think I would have had the confidence.
We also talk a lot about the pandemic and COVID. And while it was a horrible thing on certain sides, of the conversation, it also brought another sense of time at home. And it opened the doors, I think, to a lot of people
Mhm.
to be able to discover interests and pastimes. Had the pandemic not taken place, do you think we'd be sitting here right now?
No, absolutely not.
Really?
I don't think so. You never know. Never say never.
Right.
I think what the pandemic did with a lot of people is we appreciated the value of life, right? And as we were home, scared if we were ever gonna get COVID or give it to someone and they would get really sick, we kind of started to appreciate life and how not to take it for granted.
Yeah.
And because everyone has that, like money usually drives what we need to do. We need to get jobs so that we can, and I get it, we do. The logical part of me knows that you need a job, you need to make money so you can eat and live and provide for your family. But it doesn't mean that you have to put your passions on the shelf.
That's beautiful. Heartful living is all about living with intention and embracing life as it is, the messy parts and all. So, how do you practice it in your own life today?
Well, three three kids at the end of the day, sometimes I'm kind of in zombie mode, and it's hard to. So because my kids are in the stage right now that they're just growing really fast.
Yes.
I've been finding moments when we're just sitting on the couch, just watching movie, or I'm sleeping the boys because I still like to sleep them, because one day I know they're not gonna want me to even like hug them.
I do the same with my daughter.
And then in those moments, I kind of try to stop everything that's going on in my brain,
Good for you.
shush it out, and just like focus, try to memorize their face, try to memorize the way, they feel in your arms. And again, it's hard some nights because I'm exhausted and all I want to do is go to bed because I'm going to bed
Right.
because I need to sleep.
Right.
But I've been trying to be more proactive in forcing myself to stop, appreciate what is happening.
Yeah. No, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more, actually, because I do the same thing with my daughter. And my husband sometimes will tell me, "Why'd you spend an hour in there?" I go, "'Cause in a blink of an eye, she's not gonna want me in
I
there
know.
anymore,"
I know. Yep.
And thank goodness she still does, 'cause
Yeah.
when we wake up in the morning, it's a minefield of, a 13 and 11-year-old.
Yeah.
We don't know what side of the bed they wake up on anymore. So if
I,
she wants to cuddle me at night,
yes.
let's go for it. If your younger self saw you sitting here today, the one that was studying engineering at what do you think she'd say?
I think that she might consider dropping out of engineering. No. No, I think she would feel really blessed, and which is the way that I feel right now. I think she'd feel really blessed seeing how lucky she is to have her kids, her husband, her community. and being able to follow a passion of hers that, again, I would have never thought in a million years, oh, I could call myself an author.
And
Uh,
here we are.
2 books now, hopefully 3 soon.
Yeah. You're listening to the Heart to Heart podcast with Cristy Diaz for Heartful Living, where stories, connection, and intention guide everything we do. Interested in partnering with us? We're always open to collaborations that align with intention, creativity, and community. If you feel your brand is a match, we'd love to connect and explore what we can create together. And now back to listening. Do you think age has I recently had Suzanne Perez Bernal, and she is an amazing entrepreneur who went off on her own and has a great business, a very successful business in the PR world. And I asked her the same question. I asked her, do you think age has anything to do with the fact that we are not scared to go out and do our thing now in our, late 30s,
Yeah.
40s, as opposed as when we were in our 20s?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you change as you get older, and part of that is gaining confidence and realizing that you don't have as many fears as you did before. Um, you've lived a little bit more of life to know that it's not as scary as it appears to be, and that I think also we're part of a community where we like to lift each other up.
Absolutely.
And as I've grown up, had kids, and become more involved in this community of, parents and whatnot, you realize that you have that support.
Yes.
And I think that support gives a lot of the confidence as you realize that you can't do it all yourself.
Absolutely.
You realize that you have to lean whenever you can, and that's okay. It doesn't make you weaker. It doesn't make you don't have to feel ashamed of that. And because of that, it's where I get my boost to take a chance on something that I probably would not have done when I was 20 years old.
Sure. Well, this mom can attest that I am so happy to introduce this book, Painting the Maple Tree, to our community. It is actually going to be linked in our Hearts That Align tab on our Heartful Living website, because from one mom to another, this is amazing. Above the story and above the book, the fact that you have gone out and done this as a mom of 3 and have pursued your dreams that you never, ever thought would be possible. I commend you and I admire you for it. So I was hoping that you would send us off on our podcast today by reading an excerpt from the book.
Oh, let's see. Okay. Okay. How long?
As long as you want.
Ooh. I'm gonna read the moment that the tall figure comes and kisses.
Okay. So I'm going to backtrack and ask you to read a little bit.
Oh.
So, Lisi, I am so excited to link your book to our Hearts That Align website. Apart from Hearts That Align website, people can also find your book on Amazon, correct?
Correct. Paperback and ebook.
Well,
And I've been asked for the audio version, but I'm like, unless you're gonna fund it, I can't do the audio version right now.
I'll be happy to help you do that.
You have a good voice for that. No one will want to hear my voice for that.
Okay, but I don't want to be Evelyn. I want to be her fun friend.
That's what I'm writing, by the way. Doris and Michael's story.
No, but not Doris. I want to be Betty.
Oh, okay.
I loved
Yeah,
her.
the Southern
Yes,
kids.
her Southern friend. Okay, count me in for that one.
Okay.
So please read us out.
Okay. This is in the beginning when the soldier or the man comes and kisses her in Times Square. Suddenly, a tall figure appeared beside her. Before she could turn to face him, his arms had wrapped her in a tight embrace, and 2 oddly familiar eyes met hers. A rush of nostalgia flooded through her body, and her eyes closed, surrendering to a veil of memories that swarmed her vision, while the man's supple lips pressed firmly against hers. Her hand instinctively cupped his cheek as if it were the most natural thing in the world. His grip around her body was unfaltering, and his fervent kiss made time stand still, filling Evelyn with a sense of tranquility. As their lips pressed together, she felt the blood rush to her face, waiting to evaporate with the summer's sun. Stunned, she felt like a wave that had made it to the shore, washing away the despair that had lingered for too long. As he pulled away, she tried to regain her balance and focus her eyes to look more carefully at her mysterious greeter, but the crowd pushed her away and the moment was gone. Yet those calm and vibrant blue eyes gleamed in her mind. Could it be? Had the man she loved so deeply made it out alive?
And if you want to hear more, you'll have to get the book. Lisi, I can't thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
today.
This has been what's one of the things that the experiences that I never thought I'd be having when I publish these books because I'm kind of an introvert that I just type, right? I don't speak, but I've been able to meet so many wonderful new people and create these relationships that I would have never unless for writing this book.
Godsidence, I'm telling you. So, apart from getting the book actually on Amazon and also on my website, you can also reach out to Lisi and she'll join your book club.
I've been having way too much fun. These book clubs have been a treat. It's been and it's funny because everyone tells me what they took out from different scenes that I hadn't even thought about. So it's
Absolutely.
funny to see how everyone's take on the story and the characters.
Well, I can't wait to get to work on book number 2, which is Stranded Serenade. And eventually, books 3 and her memoir will come out too. And we look forward to having her back on the program to hear all about it.
Thank you
Lisi,
so much. Thank you.
thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.